Hello. So today's project is putting together our cover. I've got some ribbon to go on the outside that will attach way later on. And I've put my signatures together as well. And this is my cover completed. So this is what today's video is about. I've attached a little guy at the back. Normally I like to hang some ribbons and maybe a key from the back. So let's get started. Now, I did shoot a video a little while ago that showed you all the papers, and I did show the covers at that point, just printed out. So I'm just going to do a little flashback next so you can see what our covers look like in the printed version. Then I'll pop back on camera again and we'll go through the whole process. I have printed out the covers that I've selected. So there are 6 different covers to choose from. I've chosen 2. They kind of go together. So there's like 3 pairs, if that makes sense. So I've chosen 2. These are the ones that I've selected. This one and this one. And I'm going to use this spine here because it was just sort of so, I don't know, it's so pretty and so earthreal, I thought, that I'm going to use that one. So it's a little bit wider than sometimes when I make them. Given the size of this kit though, folks, I really think that I'm going to need the extra space. Okay, lovely. So I'm back. I printed out and trimmed down my lining paper. I am going to have to duck off camera to get a few more strips. We're going to need to just do a little bit of infilling. Actually, I might be able to use that. Anyway, I have cut out all my pieces. So I've got my front cover. I've got a piece of cardboard cut. So this is just a cereal box. I think it's Nutrigrain. That will fit, and that slots in there. It's got some little arrows to make sure I'm lining up. I've got my spine and another piece of cardboard that fits in here. You can see I've left it, my paper overshoots my cardboard just by a couple of mil either side. So there's that one. We talked about that one. I've got my this little guy. Here's the thing I hang on the back of my spines. Generally like to put like a key or some other bits and pieces on the back. So there's that one. And then I've got my back and another piece of cardboard that fits in there. So they're all my pieces. I've got my glue. For these ones I like to use the tape just because it gives a kind of a, if I use glue on here, sometimes the covers wrinkle a little bit where the glue is. Using one of these keeps it nice and flush, I guess. So that's what I'll be using today for part of this, and I'll be using my trusty glue as well when I come to turn these ones over. So let's make a start. What I'm going to do is just take my cardboard off for the minute. We don't need those right now. Don't need my backing yet. And we're going to start gluing these. So the first step is to glue these flaps down onto the spine. We're going to go like that. For this I am going to use my regular glue. That one's going there. A couple of ways of doing this. I've finally worked out that it's easier to do it face up than trying to do it back the other way. Do need to be careful with these that you do put on enough so that it's kind of close enough to the edge. So I'm just going to use my finger to just make sure that, otherwise you end up with sort of a little gap between the paper and the corner, and that's not so great. The other side doesn't matter quite as much, but you really want to make sure that we are gluing really close to make sure that that sits absolutely flush down there. Okay, so that's that side done. I've got glue all over my hands. Oh, Okay, and the other side, same, down this way. Yes. Oh, I should have filled this glue bottle up before I started. Never mind. We will persevere. And I'm just now. I've actually used a pen to score that. You can see the pen line, and I can feel it. So I make sure that I'm actually getting right up to there. You don't want anything peeling off on your cover. Okay, so that's that with the glue on it. Now I'm just going to very carefully make sure that I've lined that up. And that's that part of the gluing done. So I've got my three panels. Now comes the next exciting bit. This can be a little bit tricky. It's getting these cardboards in. So I've cut them up, and you can see I put arrows there and arrows here just to make sure that I get them in the exact right spot. I'm not exact, particularly when I'm cutting my cardboards up, and sometimes I don't even cut them perfectly square, so that definitely all fits in there. So I'm just going to go over with my little tape guy and put some tape in here. Is that working? I might have to use glue. I might have run out of tape. Oh no, I can hear it now. Maybe I have run out. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go off camera and have a go with this guy, see if I can get him fixed or dig out a new one. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back with a new little gizmo, which shall do the trick, I think. There we go. Oh no. Okay, I think I'm just going to give up on these. My backup gizmo is not working. I think I've been putting off doing this video because I always find I struggle with covers a little bit. They're just fiddly, and I've been sort of thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to get in front of a camera and have it go wrong. And of course it's gone wrong. Anyway, look, we shall, hopefully you will forgive me and we shall get there. Okay, so cover side one down. And this is not working either. But I've hit the end of this guy. All right, I'm going off camera to get another guy. Hold tight. Okay, so I broke it open and then I put some on here, and it's taken me like half an hour. When you get a brand new one, they actually work really well, but I think mine have just been sitting there probably a little bit dry for a while. So they didn't want to play ball with me, and I have something that looks like an old 80s cassette tape of tape just off to the right where you can't see. All right, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Okay, so that's my other side down and in. You can see I have cut back a little bit so that my cardboard is just slightly smaller. That just makes it easier to kind of get it in there and get it all lined up. I've got my last piece of card to go in, my number one. I'm not going to use the tape for this, guys. It's not my friend today. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue, and if it ends up wobbly, it ends up wobbly. What I might do is I've got these sort of thicker sides, so I may just glue down when I sort of got the doubled up, where I've doubled up. just because that gives me a little bit more thickness. And now my glue's not working. You know when you think, I'm going to go on camera and do this, and I was so nervous about it just because the covers can be a little bit tricky. And I was worried about it all going wrong, and I'm like, it's not going to go wrong. It's going to be fine. Guess what happened? Yeah. All good. All right. So, see, these are sort of a little bit lifting. It actually doesn't matter if these ones lift. This one's kind of better if it's stuck, as long as they don't move around. Okay, so cover is coming together. Next step is gluing down all our flaps. I'm going to try something a little bit different this time round. Normally I'd put a strip across, but I'm actually going to try pasting my strip to here rather than pasting it to here and then folding down on top. Just going to see if that works or not. We can do a little experiment. What do you reckon? So I'm just going to come in with my glue and just paste across a little bit. We'll do some chopping back if we need to. Where did I glue? I glued from there to about here. Take that off. Slot that in there. This may give us the same effect. Might just be a little bit easier. I guess we'll see how we go. Hey, and same on the other side. I'm just going to glue in here and in there. Oh man, there we go. Going from there to there. Okay, how does that look when we turn it over? Let's check it and see. Oh, that looks all right. That kind of gives us what we want. Oh, good. So now we can just go around and glue our flaps and sides. I'm going to let these dry for a little bit, these extra pieces I've put here, just to kind of just bind that all together. I'm going to let do those last, these pieces down last. We'll do the side pieces first. Just get these in, give those other guys a bit of a time to dry, hey? All right, so that's that side. And that side. Okay, now I might just trim this little bit of excess off and we'll see how we go. Yeah. Did this one first, didn't we? So we can glue this one down first. Okay. This makes quite a long piece. That's okay. There we go. And now we are folding up and over to get that all lined up. Okay, just going to get my thumbnail in there and just sort of push it in in the gap between my two pieces of cardboard. Should probably use a tool and not my nail, but there you go, it's done. All right, so that's that side. Got our other side to do. That side and least. Let's just give that a good old shove down, hey? Pushing, pushing, pushing. Oh, good. Let's make sure we've got that, because we just want to make sure that that joint is going to move freely and it's not going to catch on any of our paper layers that we've got here. So there we go. And it's looking good. There's our front, inside, which we're going to line. Haven't done that bit yet. We'll get there. And our back. So you can see that this is where I was really careful, making sure that we didn't end up with any sort of missed bits, and it's all very glued down really right to the edge there, so it's not going to peel off. Okay, so next step is we need to put our little silver guy in. I think there's a little jewel just there. I might put it right on top of that. Go right here. That looks good. Need it all. And I should measure, but just eyeballing it, that's going to be right. Push all through. Just making that hole a little bit bigger, so it's going to fit through. There's enough room to sort of turn it if I need to. Okay, so what you'll notice with these is that the link here, this circle, is attached to the tines, for want of a better word, of the brad thing here, and then that goes through here. What that means is to get this so that it flips down, you've got to put this through this direction. Okay. So that it sort of lines up. Which means that on the other side, these guys need to go straight up and straight down. Okay, just going to give that a bit of a push. I don't want to bend the thing out of whack, but kind of give it pushes and push it. Just massage it into place and massage the right shape. Okay, so that's our little loopy guy on the back. We are ready to do some lining. So this is my lining paper. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can print two, or just use scraps. I'm going to use some scraps to fill in the back. That will also just give it a little bit more rigidity. So my first step is just to cut this in half as my sort of lining pieces here. I did trim the edges off already because I've had white edges. And I might just rip this. Okay, and then these are going in here. Okay, so just glue all around the outside. There we go, a bit in the middle. And pasting. Just trying to get an equal amount all around the outside. A little bit over there. There we go. That's one side done. And I'll do the other side. Glue in the middle. And in we go. Now you can see if I wanted something very polished, I could print out another page of this and put it in the back and then overlap it. And then when these go on, they end up kind of beautifully filled in. But I'm kind of going something for a little bit more rustic and a little bit more homemade today. So we can see we're coming along. I've got a little dangle on the back. I'm just going to go off camera and grab some of the scraps that I've cut from other projects in this same journal, and we will keep gluing. Okay, so I looked at my scraps and I ended up printing up more of this because I liked this and I thought it worked really well. So ideally I would have put it under here, but that's okay. We'll be all right. How much do I need? About that much? Yeah, I think about that much will be about right. So this time I will cut it, just so I get a nice clean edge. Might need to trim a bit off the end as well. So trim off about that much there, so we all line up. It's nice to have everything lining up. Okay, so that gives me my piece of paper that's going to fit in there. Just go over with this with the glue. Now this is also another fun bit with the covers. Look, I made them out to be a monster. They're not really. You just want to make sure you've got enough glue on this, because you've kind of got to make sure that we're sticking into these joints. Okay, so I've put on quite a bit, you can see, of glue for this section. Just going to cover that up. What I want to do before that glue gets well adhered is I'm just feeling with my thumbnail, and I'm just running my thumbnail down that crease. I do that both sides, because it's also, you find the paper tends to kind of push out where our little doowacky guy is as well. So you don't want that to misalign things. So I'm just going to push everything up so that I've got this joint here, making sure that this strip on this side is really well adhered. These aren't bad to put together, they're just fiddly. Do the same this side. Just, you can kind of feel it. You can feel with it, where the paper kind of gives. You can get your fingernail in there. I wouldn't go in with something pointy because you'll tear the paper. But just go in enough to get that crease. And a bone, you could use a bone folder, but that's a little bit thick. You can see how thick that is. That's not really gonna, it's kind of making a bit of a mess of that. So you want something sort of thicker than a awl and thinner than a bone folder. Okay, so we're all done. I'm just going to come back and push this way to make sure that everything on the other side of this guy is all kind of stuck, because it's our lining paper that's going to hide where that's attached. Okay, so that is our cover done, my lovelies. We've got our little thing on the back. We've got our backing done. All that's hidden in there, under there. You can feel it if you push really hard. It's still reasonably flat. And we're ready to put the pages in. So that's how I've been making my covers. It was a little bit tortured, but we did get there, which is good. Next thing to do is to build up my signatures. and pop them in. So I don't tie my signatures in. I do what they call a brad binding, because then if I want to add more pages later, if there's something I wreck and I want to take it out, I can. So I find that sort of binding works quite well. I have been thinking about doing some sewing in of signatures. What I might do is brad bind them in while I'm constructing my journal, and then sew them in when I've finished. That's another option. So lots of options, hey. But our beautiful Cornflower Cottage journal cover right now is done, and we are ready to start building the signatures and getting this little guy on his little journey to being an awesome journal. Alrighty, I hope you have a good evening or day wherever you are. It's getting late tonight. I'm going to sign off, and I will see you in the next video.